If you only knew the power of the dark side.
2, 1, 0.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
That's better. Welcome, everybody, to another Play Blackpool live panel talk in association with RetroUnlim. Limited, I was going to say, well, it is technically. My name's Alan Stewart, and I'm also known as Mamemeister on YouTube. And I'm delighted to welcome a couple of legends, can I call you that? From the 16-bit era. And the 8-bit era as well. First we've got Andrew Morris of Magnetic Fields, and we've got Shaun sitting on my right. So just to start off with yourself, Andrew, do you want to explain a wee bit about yourself? Background?
Yeah, is this working? Yeah. So yeah, I got into computers in 1985. I started on the Commodore 64, and I was in the industry until 2000. Ended with the Raleigh Championship of the PC. That was my swan song. So yeah, what's that? 15 years in the industry.
Something like that, I think.
Yeah. And then I've had enough.
Well, I probably started a little bit earlier than Andrew, 1981 or 2, I think. I used to have a Commodore PET at school, and I'd stay behind and have a play on that, and then I got a VIC-20, I think, for Christmas in 1981, and started writing games on that, selling them in little classified adverts in magazines, and I think I sold 5 or 6. And then we joined up with Mr. Chip, who was Doug Braysby, who lived in Llandudno, which is near where Andrew lives, and he was selling games that he bought in, I think, and I used to go on holiday up to Rill, so it was close by, so we went and met him and started everything from there, really. Started writing games, Andrew joined up, and eventually morphed into Magnetic Fields.
So when you guys first got your computer, did you buy it? Was it always to sort of program, or was it always going to be games, and then you decided, I want to see how these things work?
Well, I think I was trying to get things on the PET, but the Vic was a lot better for doing things like that, the VIC-20. So yeah, I was always trying to write games, copy ones I'd seen in the arcades, or mainly copy ones I'd seen in the arcades, trying to write them myself.
What about yourself, Andrew? I mean, when you first got the computer, was it?
In 1981, I got a ZX81 and started programming BASIC, and then it was a Spectrum. I had all sorts actually, TI-99, Commodore 64, started programming on the Commodore 64. So yeah, I did about 4 years of school messing around, mainly in BASIC, and then I started machine code on the Commodore 64. I never really took to programming, I never really enjoyed it. As the industry matured, there was a role for an artist and a programmer, so I moved into design and art, and yeah, I left the programming behind, left that to Shaun.
So when you first started programming, Shaun, at what point did you realise that there was actually money to be made? Was it when you started to get people sending you £5 notes and envelopes, or?
Yeah, I don't know, I just put little adverts in and got those back, but when we joined up with Mr. Chip, he was actually got a much wider audience and making cassettes with proper inlay, not just handwritten notes on there. We didn't really start making any money.
I don't think we ever made any money,
Well, I think when they did the Mastertronic, it was getting such a wide audience then, because they were selling the games so cheaply. A lot of the games then started getting in the charts and things, and it would actually, you could see you could actually make a living out of it.
There was one time where we had the whole Commodore C16 chart was our games. It was listed about 7 of them.
I think we were the only people who were C16 at one point, yeah.
You were obviously, I mean, the C16 is everybody, but does anybody got a C16 at all?
It was my first computer, unfortunately.
Fantastic. I think I'm probably right in saying that I think you are the sort of the guru when it comes to C16 programming. They're sort of held in high revere with a lot of fans. I mean, some of your Did you port Kickstart to the C16?
We did, but it was nothing like that. It was much more like another arcade game that I can't remember what that would be. It was just bouncing around on the bike, going up little sort of platforms and bursting balloons. It was another complete rip-off of some arcade game. I can't remember.
So at what point, so how did you actually get in, you mentioned Andrew Braceby, who was, the owner of Mr. Chips?
Doug Braceby, yeah.
Doug Braceby, I beg your pardon. So how did you actually get, sort of, how did you get taken in role, how did you get involved selling games through?
Well, I took some of my games to him, and rather than me just sort of recording them onto a cassette, he actually got some duplicated and printed properly and started selling them under Mr. Chip software. Doing the adverts and things rather than just a classified in the back of a weekly magazine.
So yourself, Andrew, I mean, what was your sort of history with actually designing graphics for the games? Where obviously you did Mr. Kickstart, etc.
I used to start designing a lot of games at home. Even on the ZX81, I was designing games. But I'd always do all the graphics of all the game design and then think about programming at the end, how I'm going to put it all together and then just get fed up with the programming. And that I kept repeating that with the Spectrum and the TI-99 and although it was very difficult to do anything on the TI-99. One of the reasons I moved on to the Commodore 64. But yeah, I was overwhelmingly design focused, so I would always design the game, do all the graphics and then think about the programming. I just had no interest in programming.
Similarly for me, I'd write a really fast scrolling routine or have 15 aliens coming and attacking everything, and then I'd have to think about the graphics. And you can see some of my graphics there.
What you say that is, so that is my gaming skills on that thing, and so not very good. But that was one of my favourite early games in the C64, absolute classic.
I used to look at all the Shaun's games actually and think I could do some really good graphics in this games.
So at what point or when did you guys actually meet?
We met at Mr. Chip Software, so I got a job. Doug employed me and then we met shortly after and Shaun visited the office and started working together quite early on. I think the first full game we did, I did bits and pieces on things like Trailblazer, but the first thing we did together was Kickstart 2 was our first full game.
So what was that?
Kickstart 2.
Oh yeah.
But before that, I was doing bits and pieces and all sorts of games, a lot of title screens, little missing graphics that people needed, character sets and things like that. All sorts of small bits and pieces that were needed.
So how long did you make 8-bit games for, and at what point did you decide the 16-bit machines came along? When did you decide to sort of move across?
Well, I think when the Amiga was launched, it was an Amiga 2000 or something in a huge box. I might be wrong about
Yes,
that.
I think it was. Yeah.
And
We had one in the office and you had one at
yeah, and it was just sat in my house because I carried on writing things for the C64 for quite a while. And I think, I'm not saying I got annoyed, but he was going, I need to use that.
It was sort of waiting for the market, wasn't it? Because the Amiga at the start, there wasn't really much of a market. It was really when they launched was it the Amiga 500, the first small one?
Yeah, I think it was.
And then people started buying it. And I think the first, we converted, was it Wrangler? I don't think you were involved with that.
No, I was still writing it.
It was an upgrade, an 8-bit game. And then we did Super Scramble. But the first big hit was Supercars. That was our first Amiga hit.
Yeah. So the Magnetic Fields, was that basically the company you two guys
it was essentially, I don't think anyone else really did anything. It was essentially, because there was loads of people at the start, lots of 8-bit programmers. I think there must have been, 15, 20 people at the start. A lot of them working freelance like you, and then they all just dropped away. And as the 16-bit technology became more popular, there was really only me and Shaun. Everyone else, I don't think we could cope with the technology, so it was just the two of us really on the Amiga.
There's more of my excellent graphics.
That's actually a really good game.
Was that Hero of the Golden Talisman?
And it's a bit of a rip-off of him.
I was thinking that, yeah. So when supercars, in fact, sorry, what can you say is when you were obviously making a game, designing a game, did you both basically get involved in the sort of design aspect of the game, or?
I think we did a bit more of the design, but we certainly talked about everything. We talked about everything together, so we formulated the ideas of what types of games we wanted to do. Yeah, I mean, I never really got involved with programming, and I would just expect Shaun to do it all, and he always did, and I would do the graphics.
I mean, a lot of the ideas for the game were they lent towards what the Amiga could do, like all of the scrolling and the colours. So,
yeah, same with the Commodore 64, because everything was sprite based because it had sprites. So yeah, the designs came from the technology really.
So when Shaun basically say to you, right, Andrew, this game here, you've got 4K, or what, or did he give you an allotted amount of memory or something, or how did it?
No, you'd have like a number of sprites and things you could use.
Yeah, you sort of had an idea what you could do and what was possible, so you didn't think of anything too ambitious. You knew generally. I think the most ambitious thing we did was on the Amiga was Kid Chaos, and it was ridiculous the things that we were doing on that with all raster changes for the background and just ridiculously complicated things to make it look. It would really push the technology as far as you could possibly go on the Amiga, and that took about two years of our time. It was just a commercial disaster as well because the Amiga was pretty much dead by then. Yeah, the technology was a big factor in the types of games.
And did you have an office that you shared, or did you work from home, and how did it work?
A bit of a mix really, yeah, but there was an office in Llandudno. I used to work at home a lot, always working late at night through to the early hours.
I'd be working half the night and then going to college in the day, so I was 17 at the time when we started anyway.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, we talked about it later on, you made some of these biggest landmark Amiga games, the Lotus sort of trilogy. I've spoke to you guys before, I was really surprised when such a landmark game as like Lotus Turbo Challenge was only actually made for 2 people. You know, when you consider, you know, a modern game now is it can run to thousands of people.
Yeah. I remember when we showed Ocean Kid Chaos, they assumed we had a huge team working on Kid Chaos, and what we said was only the 2 of us, and then they thought it was a CD32 game, because they didn't think it was that a normal Amiga could have done it. So we actually upgraded them to CD32. But I think we were always very focused and committed, and we worked incredibly hard and we knew what we were doing. So we could do a lot more between the 2 of us than, you know, you might have a team of 8 people at Ocean doing the same thing. But we were always very enthusiastic.
Obviously the music in the games is very distinctive as well. Did any of you guys have a crack at? I mean, I know you did the graphics for your early games
again
as well.
I used to do the music for the Commodore 64 games, but
I think you're up to Ski Sunday as well.
Oh yeah, ripped off everything. It was amazing because back in the 8-bit days you could pretty much rip off anything you like, no one cared. But when it got to the Amiga again, it was a different sort of class of chip and the quality they could do. So no, we didn't do any music on the C60, on the 16-bit.
Obviously the 16-bit, I think, bar, am I right thinking that bar, Kid Chaos, all your games were sort of driving games, eh?
Yeah. We almost did after Supercars. We almost did a shoot-em-up because Shaun used to like shooting games. And I did, and I had an idea for what became Lotus. And we did quite a lot of the graphics, and I think you did a lot of the code for a shooting game. Do you remember?
See, I can't remember that.
Yeah, so
we'll have to show me those graphics.
I think we spent about 8 weeks or 6 weeks on it, and then I just kept going on about doing this two-player racing game, and then Shaun worked out how to do a fast road routine where the road would move up, down, left and right, which was the basis of Lotus. And then we switched to that. It had Porsche originally, so it was a Porsche Turbo Challenge, but it wasn't.
I'm just looking, I think that's Cosmic Causeway it's playing at the moment. That's super fast. And how did you manage to get the speed?
Again, it's just down to what the hardware could do. So you're getting most of that for free. It's just one image with lots of little changes of colour using the hardware. So, you know, you're not rendering lots of big squares on the screen, they're there already and you're just moving them around. And then everything else is sprites. So yeah, it's just, there's certain games you could do. You couldn't do like a proper 3D game on the Commodore 64 because it really would be slow, but you could do things like this. So that's where the game ideas used to come from.
So the first Magnetic Skulls game was it Supercars? Or was it Lotus?
Supercars was the first hit.
Yeah.
There was Wrangler before that, there was Super Scramble Simulator. Supercars was the first hit, and then we did Lotus, then Supercars 2, Lotus 3, Lotus 2, Lotus 3, and finished with Kid Chaos.
So what kind of prompted you to do Supercars, which is obviously you obviously came up with the idea for a driving game, and then you decided we'll do a two-dimensional overview.
Yeah, it wasn't staggeringly original, but there was plenty of...
Super Sprint, was it?
Yeah, there was Super Sprint, the arcades. I think other people had done top-down games, and there was the last V8 on the Commodore 64. It wasn't a staggeringly original idea to do a top-down game, but we tried to bring lots of different elements into it, and I wanted it to be more than just the world of the game. I wanted to be a world outside of that, and Supercars 2 took that even further, so there was like a trading element to it, and you could go to shops, and we added lots of characters, and I did have ideas of expanding the world a bit beyond that. But I suppose a little bit like the way Grand Theft Auto eventually went, that there would be a big world beyond it, and the racing would be the focus, but there'd be all sorts of things going on around it, and that we expanded that more with the second one, with lots of characters and conversations. We had a lot of fun writing the scripts and the conversations.
And of course the missiles.
Yeah. Obviously, it's very politically correct now. The arms dealer and buying missiles and trading them for profit. It's sort of out of touch with where we are now, which is good, I think. If we do Supercars 3, which is someone's mentioned, it'll be interesting to see how we'll go about putting an arms dealer in there. And, some of those ideas now.
So your second your second 16-bit game under magnetic fields was Turbo Challenge, is that correct?
It was the second hit.
Yeah. Was that, did you start developing that when Supercars was getting developed, or did you finish Supercars first and then think, let's do a 3D game?
So after Supercars was the shooting game, I'd had ideas for Lotus. It was quite a while before I had an idea for that type of game. So we did the shooting game after Supercars, and that just stalled, and then we did Lotus after that. So
what was the shooting game called? Wrangler?
I didn't have a name. There was quite a lot. There was the Bitmap Brothers had a really good shooting game. What was it?
Zen.
Yeah, Zen. There's a few things like that, and we hadn't really done anything like that on the Amiga, whereas we used to do a lot of those types of games on the Commodore 64. So in some ways it's a shame we didn't, because once we got into the racing games, we just stuck with it, and that became what we were known for.
I mean, I think when I first saw Lotus Turbo Challenge, my jaw hit the floor, because previously the racing games in the Commodore Amiga were things like Crazy Cars and Crazy Cars 2, which were absolutely god awful. And here was a game that just looked like it was basically Outrun from the home. I mean, I'm assuming Outrun was a big sort of inspiration.
Influence. I mean, a lot of look and feel it was down to Shaun. It was very fast and playable.
Yeah, that was the main thing. It was running at 60 frames a second or 50 frames a second, whatever they do here, I think.
Was that at night time in Kickstart, is it?
Forgot.
I thought that's a Spectrum version, I'm not too sure.
I don't know whether we did a night side.
Whose idea was it to also implement the CD player in Lotus? I mean, that was something that nobody had ever seen before.
No, I thought of that just because from sitting in the car, I just thought about it, because you wanted to try and bring the car into it as much as possible. So I went to a Lotus dealer to have a car, and I think I had a similar stereo in my own car with big speakers in the back, so I liked that idea of selecting tracks, and we didn't do it on the second one, but we brought it back on the third one, because everyone said they missed it. In the interim, there'd been the Jaguar game. I remember reading one of the reviews for that, and it's with the reviews for Supercars for Lotus 3. They said we'd stolen the idea from Jaguar because Jaguar just basically copied everything from Lotus, which really irritated me. It was really trying to do as much as we could from the car in to represent the car in a way that worked on the technology, and that was a way you could get the feel of the car on the screen.
So how did it come? I think that you mentioned, was it originally the Porsche Turbo Challenge?
Yeah, the whole game. There's a whole load of Porsche graphics that I drawn, so it was a bit of a hassle having to go through the whole thing, redoing all the graphics, but it was exciting because although it was a Porsche, it wasn't an official Porsche game. It was just a car that looked a lot like a Porsche. So when we had an official license, it was worth it to have an official license to change all the graphics, but I had to go through redrawing everything, which took ages.
And you did draw them by hand, and there's no 3D package?
No, all of it. So even the front end graphics, so a lot of the car, so there was intro screens and the car in the game, and there was loads of graphics I had to redraw as a Lotus.
What software package did you use?
D-Paint.
Yeah,
and I think you wrote some animation software for me, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
don't remember much then?
No.
I just saved the stuff out in D-Paint and then loaded a different package and then look at the animations and then remember what was wrong, then go back to D-Paint. Really time-consuming and fiddly, but it obviously worked.
So how long does it take from start to finish to develop a game like Lotus?
Was it 9 months, I think, the first one, and then 6 for the second one?
Yeah, I seem to remember that when we were working with Brendan, they won a game out for Easter and a game out for Christmas, so it used to be 6 months, but yeah, the first one took a bit longer. And then the rest, obviously, I've got a lot of the code and graphics already done, so they were just...
Yeah, the schedule was ridiculous. The worst one was for Supercars 2, because they wanted to just do Lotus 3. I remember killing myself on just working all hours of every day on Supercars 2 to get it done, because we had to fit Lotus into the next schedule that they had in mind. So Supercars 2 was a huge game compared to the first one. I think we did it in less than 6 months. I remember working day and night, weekends, everything to get Supercars 2 done.
So after obviously Lotus, sorry, before I move on, Lotus obviously became Lotus Turbo Challenge. How did that come about? Was there a license agreed or something?
Well, we did a lot of Lotus, with the Porsche, we did a lot of the game, and then we took it to Gremlin. They really liked it immediately, they loved it, and said we've just got this, we've done a deal with Lotus to license their cars for the next however long. Do you want to use the Lotus license? And it was really exciting at the time to have that official, well it's very common now, all games have licenses. Back then it was very, very rare to have a licensed game, so it was really exciting to have the Lotus attachment to it, and they were involved with launches and drive the cars, and there was no internet then, so it was a lot of research I did was buying up old magazines, so I'd go through all the magazines, buying back issues, phoning them up, asking which old issues have Lotuses in, and I'd buy up all the old issues for the research.
So Lotus himself, apart from obviously the license, did they take a kind of an interest in the development of the game at all? Or, I know it's always there was no damage to the cars.
We said that, I think we said that on Rally as well, but it was more that it was very difficult to do damage, and to get the cars to flip would require lots of graphics, and so we just had the cars bumping into things and just said that Lotus said we couldn't damage the cars.
Yeah, I mean, the physics on Lotus are not very based in the real world at all. It's very arcadey, so it suits just having things sliding around corners and bumping into each other.
Obviously, the first Lotus had, I'm thinking it had 2 players. Well, it was 2 players only, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry, you could have a single player, but if you weren't playing, if you were only playing as a 1 player, the bottom part of the screen was just a sort of static.
Yeah, just a pit stop screen.
So the second game, was it a commercial decision to make it, or was there just, you thought, there's more ideas.
Everyone wanted the second one, and we tried to do a different style of play rather than the pit stop idea with circuits. We wanted more of an outrun type game, an arcade type game, and then we started bringing all the different types of scenarios into it as well. So that was always the most innovative, because we had the fog, the night time, and things like that.
And because all the levels were different sort of sound effects and graphics there, I think they had music for each level as well, didn't they?
Yeah,
using
yeah.
a CD thing.
Yeah. That is, in some ways, it really found itself with the second one. I think it was groundbreaking, particularly with the environments. I remember developing the environments and realising when having the ideas for them, but then not quite realising how well they would work. And then when Shaun animated the graphics, the fog, both of us being, wow, that's amazing. That's no one's seen anything like that before. This is, it was really exciting to come up with those techniques. And I remember when I thought of that, I was thinking, is that going to work? How will that look if I do that? Because I had to think about how fog worked, and then with a very limited colour set, whether I could do it. I did some graphics that I thought would work, and then Shaun animated them, and I can still remember now looking at them thinking, my God, that's amazing. And we did the same thing with the night time, and then we did storm levels, and it spurred us on to create different environments.
So obviously the third one came along. Personally, I think the first one was my favourite. I think I liked the whole sort of just riding the loose. What was your personal favourite?
I prefer the second one. I mean, a lot of people said, why did we change it? But I say it's much more of a complete sort of game with all the different environments and sort of just rolling over the line and getting your extra 10 checkpoint and just get going again and everything.
Yeah, the third one was a bit slow because we tried to put so much into it. The third one was essentially the first two games combined with some extra levels.
Course designer.
The course designer. Yeah, the course designer. Originally we were doing a very slow and boring course designer that was, you put in a corner here, a straight there, and with a straight and another corner. I couldn't believe anyone would do it, and they kept saying, oh yeah, people like to sit there for hours designing a course like that, and I thought this is really boring. So I did come up with an idea for sliders to describe a course, and I said we can put that in as well, and if people want a really fast course, they can just do all the sliders, say they want to twisty or hilly or whatever, and it worked so well that in the end we just thought, let's just, all we need is that, we don't need it like a construction kit, as they called them then. So that's how the course design came about.
So was it, from a technical point of view, was the third one, from a programmer's point of view, was it probably most technically?
Well, I'd say it got all the other bits in, so because I'm having to check whether you're doing this or whether you're doing this, or whether there's laser beams firing across the road, it did start to slow down a bit because the Amiga hadn't moved on. You couldn't get a faster Amiga at that point. Well, the basic one wasn't any faster.
Yeah, you can tell we're running out of ideas with the laser beams across the road. It moved away from any pretense of simulation.
The futuristic level looked like...
Although we had it driving in the lorries in the second one.
Oh yeah, and there was your yeehaw sound.
Yeah, we did do yeah.
It was kind of like Outrun beats Wipeout.
Yeah, well, I think there's things like Dukes of Hazzard we were thinking. I was thinking about doing jumps and things at one time, and I'm not sure why we did do that. But I started thinking about Knight Rider and Dukes of Hazzard, things that I'd watched as a child, thinking how could we do things like that, and this sort of going into a truck sort of came from those types of ideas.
Obviously, you mentioned it was inspired by Outrun. Have you seen the sort of the official versions of Outrun?
Yeah, they weren't that great, were they?
I think
slow.
they've been kind.
I think they just probably took the original code and ported it and then just not very fast, well, we can't do any better. Whereas I say, all our games and everything were sort of led by the design and by the sort of what computer could do. So we found a way to do a really fast routine for the road on Lotus, which handled all the hills and the curves and the things appearing over the hill. And that sort of decided how it was going to play as well, really.
So after the third one, how did, I mean, this, sort of as far as sales went, what kind of sold the best out of the three? Probably is it the second one, you think?
I think it was the second.
I think it was the second
Yeah.
one.
I think at the time it was definitely the best seller ever for Gremlin. But I'm pretty sure they all were at the time. But I remember going on with the second one, how many the sales were just incredible. It was better than anything they'd ever done before.
I remember going to a computer show at Earl's Court, and there was so many people there selling box upon box. You could see a mile away, a big green box. And it was just piled up everywhere, and they were obviously selling them all. So.
We went to one of the shows. They always, some of them were quite good, big events on the computer shows. I remember Shaun and I had a DJ there asking people to play the game, with a bit of a competition. Shaun and I sat down and didn't know that we'd designed the game, and he's commenting on it, and we got incredible times, and he couldn't quite believe the time we had. Because everyone was getting fairly consistently average times, and our times were just way better. I remember getting really annoyed when he found out, because one of the guys at Gremlin said, "Oh, they're the designers of the game," and he looked really annoyed.
So were there any plans for a fourth one at all?
It's possible, anything's possible.
No, sorry, or were they at the time? Was there any plans?
I think we thought we just done everything. We went on to Kid Chaos afterwards, and then during Kid Chaos, the Amiga, it just started the sales were declining, and it wasn't really worth doing anything after Kid Chaos. So, but Lotus 3 probably did everything. Having said that, I did have other ideas, but the Amiga was dead, so there was no commercial way we could do it.
Can I just ask you, Andrew, what's that guy?
Yeah, what's
the back of that card in his hand? Oh, he's got it right here.
It's open to debate.
So, what your last commercial game was Kid Chaos? When did that get released?
I think that was 93. I think we started doing it, or 93 or 94.
I think it came out in 94, we started in 92, I think, was it? Yeah, it was a full 2 years that we spent doing that. It was 4 discs, it was a huge game. And originally we thought Gremlin might do it, but Zool came out while we were developing it, and they decided they didn't want to platform games.
So that was the last commercial release. When did sort of Magnetic Fields cease to be, or did it just kind of?
After that we did PC games.
Of course you did. You did the rally games.
Yeah, we moved on to the PC because that became the viable platform when the Amiga went, and it became more of a games machine. Around about that time, it started to take it where the Amiga died. That's when the PC really became a games machine then. Because Lotus was on the PC, but it was terrible. I remember, but it really came into itself around that time, and with the better sound cards and better graphics cards, so it was the PC became quite a good games machine then.
So obviously with things like Kickstarter and what have you, would you ever consider as enough interest to give us a fourth game?
Yeah, it was possible. A lot. We've been asked a few times to do a Supercars 3 or maybe a Turbo Challenge 4. Anything's possible, but we'd certainly get involved. Yeah.
So you're not involved in sort of game production at all, Andrew?
No, I left in 2000 after the third of the rally games that we did. So I run a property company now. Shaun's still in business now.
Yeah, I had a bit of a break in 2000. We did try and set something up, but that never happened.
Yeah, we almost, for various reasons, we couldn't use the Magnetic Fields name, various legal reasons, or it would have been difficult, so we set up a new company, and we had a license with a big car manufacturer that had a Formula 1 tie-in at the time, so it could have been a really interesting game, but we just couldn't get the funding. I think part of it was just the confusion of the name, that we dropped the Magnetic Fields name and set up a new company. We tried for about a year and didn't really get anywhere with it, and I already had the property business, so I just put my time into that and Shaun started something else.
I went to it for Warthog for a bit, and then Warthog sort of went broke and turned into Gizmondo, and we had Trailblazer on the Gizmondo, which was one of their release games, and then that went broke. I think there was lots of fraud going on at Gizmondo, I'm not quite sure. I've had been part of various companies that have done DS games, whatever, just been doing bits and pieces, and eventually we turned into a company called Playdemic, who I work for now. We've done a game called Golf Clash, which has been doing pretty well on phones, and I'm still working there now, so yeah, I'm still a programmer.
Going back a wee bit, the name Magnetic Fields, was that kind of inspired by Jean-Michel Jarre?
It was, yeah. It wasn't us that came up with the idea. There was a guy called Michelangelo Pignani. He used to work, he was a programmer and producer at Mr. Chip. And before we set up Magnetic Fields, he suggested that as a name. Yeah, and it was Jean-Michel Jarre.
And whose idea was it to tell them it's a very, very distinctive
The Wagner
start, yeah,
that's also him. Yeah, he found a sample. It was something out of copyright that we could use, and so it was from Wagner's Ring Cycle. I think it is. It's the Death March of Wagner's Ring Cycle.
You can tell it was getting serious when we started worrying about copyright.
Yeah.
Not just ripping off Ski Sunday and Kickstart music off the TV, and completely ripping off graphics for other games as well, just sitting there in the arcade, copying them down pixel by pixel. Things like the duck shoot game we did.
Well, listen guys, I think what I'm just going to do now for the last 15 minutes, I'm going to open the questions up to the floor. If anybody would like to ask these guys a question, please just raise your hand. Fantastic. Right, Ian, I'll let you walk about with the microphone.
Hi, alright. There's been quite a few of the games from the older times re-released on Nintendo DS and 3DS and things like that. I'm thinking more along the Rainbow Island sort of thing. Is there any plans to reintroduce Lotus or supercars on any of these formats?
Well, Lotus, we saw a version of Lotus on an iPhone, but the license is a problem with Lotus. So we did any of the Turbo Challenge games, we'd have to deal with that, or maybe use a different license with a different car manufacturer. Supercars is a possibility. There's some talk about a third supercars. I'm not sure about re-releasing the old ones.
I think the one on the phone, it was just basically an emulator of the old Amiga code, but I don't think they could
Kickstart was good as well, wasn't it, on an emulator on the iPhone, wasn't it?
Well, I think once the emulator works, all the games work, so I think they definitely could play them. I think you can actually stream some of the games now as well. So it's running on a bank, on a server somewhere, and you're just getting fed the graphics back. But these are all the old games, not any new versions.
Any other questions, guys? A couple of guys at the front.
Yeah, when the playable demo was released on the cover of the One magazine for Kid Chaos, it was originally called Kid Vicious. Did Ocean ask you to change the title, or was it a commercial decision? Was there a reason behind changing it to Kid Chaos?
It was Ocean, wasn't it? It was at the time when there's these periodic outcries over violence in computer games. It happened again recently, and they thought it was too violent, and they were worried that they'd get into trouble with the press. So we tried to tone down the violence and check with the name changed. Yeah, so it was just they were worried about the violent image it had.
I mean, originally it was a kitten, which would probably got
it's very first version. It was
Cosmic Kitten, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it had come earlier in the life of me. It would have been a commercial success because it's a great game. Just a shame that it came so late in the life.
Yeah, it was. I think exactly as you say, 2 years earlier, 3 years earlier, it probably would have been a huge hit.
Can I just ask a quick one? Did you guys ever think about getting into console development at all?
We usually let other people port them.
Yeah, we've given them the code and the people would port the games, but I've worked on all sorts of consoles since.
There was a Mega Drive, there was a Mega Drive Lotus, wasn't there? And Rally Championship.
There was a Commodore 64 Lotus as well, it was very, very slow.
Yeah. Actually, I've forgotten about that. And the Spectrum one as well.
Lotus and the Spectrum?
I think I only saw one. It was Gremlin's own team that did the Commodore 64 and the Spectrum. And We did do we ported the ST versions, but they were such an afterthought we really didn't care about it.
It was the same code, basically.
Yeah, but it was slower and the sound was terrible.
Also, like coders like yourself, you're very, you've got a lot of, you're proud about your work. You do not have any concerns about letting somebody else handle a game that's going to say, oh, that looks like rubbish, whereas it wasn't you.
I did a little bit because I was worried about the reputation of the brand, but it was, it was not really our decision. It was a bigger thing than that. So the publisher really could do what they wanted with it, essentially.
Any other questions, guys?
So I've got two linked questions. First one is, am I right in thinking when you were originally developing the Lotus games, you got to go to the Lotus test track and drive some cars?
Yeah, Hethel in Norwich.
Yeah. So and that then appears in one of the games, doesn't it? I think there's a Hethel track.
It's possible.
Probably in the third one.
I think so. We probably cut just I live up the road from it, and Norfolk is the flattest county on the planet, and it's got mountains in the background. And I wondered if they were there for technical reasons or just just because they were there anyway.
We were probably having a laugh.
When we actually went to the factory the first time, it influenced more the later games that what with the feedback on there, because that was actually done for the launch of the first game. So when we developed the first game, we hadn't been to the factory. I'd seen the car at the dealership, and I'd done loads of research because the stuff they provided was fairly weak. They just sent me a couple of photographs of a brochure. So I went through, I bought about a dozen magazines, back issues with car reviews. But we did the launch for the first game at the factory, and then that sort of fed into what we did with the later games. I'm not sure how noticeable it was, but I think what we used as track, if I remember rightly, was a demo, I think.
Right. I just remember playing the Hethel track, I'm pretty sure I do. I just remember mountains in the background, which I just
You
found
probably
amusing.
remember better than me. I haven't looked up them for like 30 years.
Did you hope you'd end up with a real Lotus at the end of that?
They did offer us a discount, I remember. It was one of the directors thought about buying it on land, and she said the discount wasn't big enough.
No, it had to be 99%, I think.
We all got to drive them. I said it was like a lot of journalists turned up and they gave them an incentive to give us a good review if they needed one. And we all just got to drive around, and I couldn't see out the windscreen because the windscreen was down here. I couldn't see anything, so I wasn't going to buy one.
I bought a Lotus years later. I had a Lotus Exige for 12 months. That was really happy with. When I bought it, I mentioned to the guy that I wanted a game with Lotus, and he played it. He was a huge fan of it. I got a fantastic discount then. I kept it for a year, and I think when I sold it a year later, I made 50 quid on it. So I had a Lotus Exige for a year. I didn't lose any money on it.
Can I ask you guys, what was your relationship with the magazines? Obviously, it was pre-internet, and magazine reviews could effectively kill a game stone dead if it was crap.
Well, they seem to like the games. I didn't really know any of them, but I always liked it, especially more in the 8-bit days when you wouldn't really have any feedback other than when it came out in a review in the magazine. I'd be going to Smith's every day and it's a new thing. There it is, there's the review. They think it was really exciting that. But I think we did do a few sort of features with some of the magazines in there.
As time went on, there was the previews became a big thing, and then there was a structure. You had the preview, maybe a couple of previews, then the review, then there'd usually be a follow-up for cheat modes and maps and things, and hidden features. But the hidden features were there partly so you got more coverage later on. So you're trying to work out like a schedule of things over 6 months, the preview game.
Yeah, all the 16-bit games used to have a hidden shoot 'em up in them or things like that. Rocks and
all the duck shoot. All three Lotus. There was duck shoot, pod. What was the other one? Rocks.
Avoiding those asteroids.
Are you going to share how you unlock them?
Sorry?
Are you going to share how you unlock these games?
I think everyone knows that. All the codes to get in there. Just have to type your name in as one thing. start playing it. And
Yeah, I'm just looking at it, I mean, that's Lotus 2 on the screen here, but it looks incredible, it really, really does.
I said the speed's the main thing, I think, to give you the illusion of playing it.
That was 60 frames per second.
Yeah, I think so, on the full screen.
Any more questions, guys?
Hello. One of my favourite features of Lotus Turbo 2 was the serial link-up, so you could have 4 players. Was there any reason why that was removed from Lotus 3?
I know when we were getting that to work, it was a nightmare. I don't remember why it would have been removed.
I remember it being difficult to program because you had to go. It was difficult just getting enough computers and leads in one place. I think there's some doubt that anyone was going to use it because it was so difficult for us to arrange it.
Like I say, it did work on Lotus 2.
Yeah.
Up at 3 in the morning trying to fix that in Sheffield.
Yeah, I think we just doubted that people were using it. Maybe
there's a problem with the syncing the signals, and we actually had an oscilloscope on the back of the computer going, what's that spike coming from when it's sending messages? It just turned out we hadn't set something up right, and then it all worked, but I don't know why it was removed, no.
Did you guys actually play your own games?
I used to, yeah.
You get any good at them?
I was always very cautious that I didn't get too good at them, and because it always worried me to get the difficulty right, particularly after Super Scramble in the early days. Seeing the programming just go crazy with it and just make it ridiculously hard. So it was always good to get feedback from other people because you want it to be fun and then to be a difficulty curve, which hopefully we always got right.
I can imagine getting the difficulty right on a game is pretty difficult.
Yeah, everybody's subjective, so all you can do is ask a lot of people and get a lot of feedback. But in those days, there weren't really test themes, so you get your friends to play it or ask someone at Gremlin, do you think it plays alright? Is it too difficult or too? So there wasn't with Rally, particularly the last Rally, we had a team of testers in, not only looking for bugs but giving us feedback about how it played and what they thought about difficulty levels. So. But in the early days it was just
So as far as sort of like bug testing, was it you guys that do bug testing, or did you see that you distribute the games to?
There was a guy in the office with Peter to do the bug testing.
I suppose back then, I mean nowadays, you get a game with PlayStation 4 and there's a bug to help, they just release a patch, but back then, you couldn't do it.
You'd all have to work before you send it out, yeah.
Any other questions, guys? We've got time for another couple. Anybody else? No? Well, listen, I just want to extend a massive, massive thank you to these two wonderful people. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I'm sure everyone has enjoyed listening to you. Mr. Andrew Morris and Mr. Shaun Sutherland. Just a quick one, guys. There's going to be another panel talk at 2 o'clock today with the developer Playtronic. So we'll be back here for nice and sharp with good luck. Thank you.